Well, CBS News transportation teams really are helping us to know a lot more about the two aircraft involved. So here you see on your screen what we're talking about. At the time of the crash, the three soldiers on board that Black Hawk helicopter flew in a standard military training flight. On the left, a standard PSA Airlines CRJ series jet holding 60 passengers and 4 crew members. Newly appointed Department of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth talked more about that Black Hawk flight last night. Let's take a listen.
Routine annual retraining of night flights on a standard corridor for a continuity of government mission. The military does dangerous things. It does routine things on the regular basis. Tragically, last night, a mistake was made. And I think the president is right. There was some sort of an elevation issue that we have immediately begun investigating at the DOD and Army level. Army CID is on the ground investigating. Top-tier aviation assets inside the DOD are investigating, sir, to get to the bottom of it so that it does not happen again, because it's absolutely unacceptable.
So over the next several hours, you could be hearing a lot more about the use of potential night vision goggles aboard that military helicopter. So let's continue that conversation, bringing in CBS News Ellee Watson. So, Ellie, you have some information about these soldiers and the units they came from.
That's right, Reed. We learned actually from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth in that briefing at the White House that the 3 soldiers were a captain, a staff sergeant, and a chief warrant officer. They were soldiers as a part of the 12th Aviation Battalion out in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, which is just south of D.C., and they were flying an annual proficiency evaluation flight when the tragic accident happened near Reagan Airport last night. We know from Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth said that they were a fairly experienced Black Hawk crew. We know the Army is in the process of notifying family members, and after that we may learn the identities of the 3 soldiers.
Now, we also have word that you've actually flown in a Black Hawk with the Secretary of Defense. Take us inside that craft and the staffing of that craft. There were 3, correct?
There were 3 in this flight. Black Hawks are one of the modes of transportation for senior Defense Department officials, like the Secretary of Defense, but also senior Army leaders, other senior Pentagon officials. The most recent time I was in a Black Hawk was in December in Tokyo, in Japan, when Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was visiting there. When I rode in the Black Hawk, you put on big headphones to shield your ears from the noise, and you get in, you sit down, there's a pilot, a co-pilot, and then 2 soldiers, at least in my experience, looking out of each side of the helicopter. Now, we know from Secretary Hegseth that the training exercise that this Black Hawk was taking part in was a continuity of government mission. And what that could mean is that these soldiers were training for an event, if there were an event that they needed to evacuate senior leaders like the Secretary of Defense or other high-up officials. They were training for an event like that when this tragic accident took place last night.
What about the reported use of night vision goggles? Do you have any reporting on that and how that could have affected their field of vision?
The Defense Secretary said that they had night vision goggles, but President Trump in the briefing room was unclear on whether or not they were wearing them. And if you have the night vision goggles on, you can see more clearly in your range of vision, but may be obstructed from seeing peripherally. So that will be part of the investigation when investigators get on the ground and start looking at what led to this accident. We do know that Army CID is helping the National Transportation Safety Board with this investigation, but the Army has also sent investigators from the Army Combat Readiness Center to look into what the Army part of this was. The NTSB is leading the investigation, but the Army will be in support. And Reed, I also want to note something, because we've talked all morning about how routine these helicopter flights are over the Potomac, and that is true. But President Trump's pick to lead the Army, to be the Secretary of the Army, in his confirmation hearing said that going forward, it may be worth looking at whether or not these training flights should be so close to Reagan National Airport.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of drilling down on how to avoid this in the future on many levels. And let's talk a little bit about that, because in his news conference, the president really seemed to indicate that somehow, potentially DEI policy was to blame for this crash. He's already taking some heat for that assertion, some saying it's too early to make that assertion. But let's take it a step at a time. What is the chain of command in this investigation that could find out if the president is actually talking about something that's rooted in something concrete there?
The president's comments are way ahead of anything we've learned from investigators. The investigation, as I said, will be led by the National Transportation Safety Board with Army supporting. So the Army Criminal Investigative Division, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, said is cooperating, is helping the NTSB, but we also have the Army Combat Readiness Center sending investigators and subject matter experts who can examine and investigate and then tell the NTSB what led to the Army part of this and what led to this training flight turning into such a terrible disaster.
Terrible disaster indeed. Ellee Watson, thank you so much, reporting live from the Pentagon for us. We appreciate it.